Hello everyone, this is Dr.Syamala Devi from MBA International Business Administration, okay, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Today we are going to learn about perception. What does perception means, okay, and what were the features of perception? What is the process of perception, okay? So coming to perception, what does perception means? Basically, perception means the thinking, okay? The thinking of a person or the beliefs of a person can be considered as a perception. How he interprets the things, how he predicts the things, the thoughts or the views, the opinions on a thing, on an object, or on a place, or on a person, okay? How he thinks regarding that particular person, so that is known as a perception. Means uh, the person will thinks, he will understand, he will analyze, okay, he will interpret, and finally he conclude, or finally he will take a decision regarding that uh, point, or regarding that situation, okay. So according to that, according to his thinking, he will behave on that particular act, okay, on that particular person, or else on that particular object, okay. Therefore perception is nothing but the person, the way of the person thinking, how he thinks. Why? Because on a same situation, different people think differently, okay. For example, uh, uh, in any organization, for example, if an employee met with an accident, okay, so the employees think that, or the workers in that organization, they will think that due to lack of adequate security measures in the organization, the worker has gone under accident, okay. But the same situation will be, how managers will think means, or how the management will think means, they will perceive like that, like uh, by thinking that, or by saying that, due to workers carelessness, this accident went on, okay. Like that, uh, there will be differentiation in the thinking, there will be differentiation in perceiving a situation, in perceiving a object, anything, okay. It depends upon the data. Like that, perception differs from person to person on the same situation, okay. Therefore we can define this perception as, uh, a perception uh, as defined as a process by which individuals organize, interpret their sensory impressions in order to give meaning to their environment, okay. This is given by Stephen Robbins. So he defined that by taking the information, by taking the data from external environment, any person will organize that information, okay, in a systematic form in order to get a meaning, okay. And then he will interpret from that information, and then through his sensory impressions. Sensory impressions means nothing but we have sensory organs like hearing, smelling, okay, touch, feeling, everything. These are all known as sensory impressions or sensory organs, okay. So all these gives meaning to the interpretation, okay. So that is known as a perception. So perception may be defined as a cognitive process. Here cognitive process is nothing but an intellectual process, okay. A process that is meant to analyze the uh, information, okay. It will remind the information, remember the information, uh, that is known as a data, okay. So cognitive process means an intellectual process, okay, a knowledgeable process by which people attend to incoming stimuli, organize and interprets such stimuli into behavior. Here stimuli is nothing but the data, okay, the data that is collected from the external environment. Okay, here the data may be in the form of an object, the data may be in the form of a place, person, okay, everything, anything may be known as a data, which is known as a stimuli. Therefore this stimuli will be organized, okay, organized in the sense in a systematic form. We have to frame it in order to get a meaning, and then we have to ultimately that in organized information will be interpreted for so and so reason, so and so thing happened. Okay, we will interpret according to our thinking. Okay, therefore such interpretation will be made to that stimuli, and finally we will behave according to our perception. Okay, different individuals have different thinking styles, beliefs, feelings, objectives, etc., and almost every individual behaves accordingly. Because of these factors, different people take different meanings from the same thing. As I said before, from the same situation, for example, if we take the accident incident, okay, workers feel that it is the carelessness of management not taking any security measures. In the same situation, managers think that they are they are very careless about their work. So like that, from for the same situation, different opinions can be seen. Therefore perception means it differs from person to person depending upon their factors. Okay, therefore, the intellect, it is considered as an intellectual process, psychological process, a subjective process. Okay, perception may be considered in these three ways. So, intellectual process means it selects the data, organizes the data, interprets the data. Okay, so this is an intellectual process. We have to do a mental process. Okay, that means from the external environment, the stimuli or the data should be collected. Then we have to select that data, which data should we have to take, and we have to organize it properly. Next, it is a psychological process. Means uh, while in this intellectual process, okay, the people emotions thoughts also triggered there. Means our psychological aspects like our emotions may also have influence on that aspect. Okay, uh, so some may think it as a positive, some may think it as a negative. Okay, here their emotions will be affected on that particular situation. Okay, and it is known as a subjective process also. Subjective in the sense the same thing will be perceived differently by different people. Okay, so subjective means it is specific, only specific to certain person, only one person. That person, a single person has his own opinion, that is known as subjective. Okay, it is considered to that particular person only. Those views and opinions are subjective to that person only. Okay, that is known as subjective process. And here we will see perception as internal perception and external perception. Internal perception is regarding to our within the body. Okay, our needs, our desires, okay, our attitudes, our likes, all those comes under internal perception. Okay, like that external perception means external perception also like a repetition of a work. Okay, or size and color, like that different aspects have is known as external perception, right? So next, if we study about the nature or characteristics of perception, means first one is subjective process. So what does subjective process means? Okay, subjective process means, as I said before, it is related to particular person's views and opinions. Okay, it is not a generalized process. Here all the persons are not considered. Here only one person's view is considered. Subjective means to that person only it is considered. Why? Because the same situation has different opinions. Okay, so that is why it is known as subjective. Each person has his own opinion on the same context. Therefore it is known as subjective process. Coming to activation process, what does activation process means? Perception is a process which creates activeness in a person. There is a sensation before perceptual process. During sensation, the person remains inactive. He only feels and does not respond. On the contrary, the person becomes active in perception. Okay, here activation process means sensation, in the sense, as I said before, we have sensory organs. We will smell, we will feel, okay, we will see, we will hear, we can feel the touch. Okay, therefore by having that external environmental factors or internal environmental factors, okay, there will be an activation in our body. Okay, therefore it is known as an activation process. During the perceptual process there will be no activeness, but after only after perception process only activation process will be done. Then only the behave, how he will behave will be uh, decision made there only after the completion of the perceptual process. That means activation of the person. Next, mental process. Mental process means perception is a mental process. Under perceptual process, a person selects, organizes, interprets the information available in the environment. Every person cannot be attracted towards all stimuli present in the environment. Here, mental process means, see, um, around his surroundings, a person's surroundings, or in his environment, many things will happen, but he will be connected to some aspects only. He will select some stimuli only. He will select some data only which is related to him. Okay, so he will not consider all the aspects which are going on the surroundings of him. He will be attracted towards a particular stimuli. Okay, and from that stimuli that person will select. Okay, then he will organizes that information, and then he will interpret that or information, that this thing will happen, that thing will happen. He will interpret like that, this may happen, that may happen. So according to that interpretation this person will behave. Okay, that is known as the mental process, intellectual process. Okay, next, coming to wider scope than sensation. Okay, perception is a mixture of sensation and cognitive process. That is why it is known as wider scope. Here, we are not only restricted towards only sensation aspect, that is sensory, depending upon the sensory organs only. It also extended to the study of cognitive process also. Cognitive process means, as I said before, it is an intellectual process. Intellectual process means here each and everything will be seen, remembered. The each and every activity, each and every information will be repetitively remembering by the person. Okay, at the same time sensation also he feels, or his, if at all it is food means he will smells the food, and he will do a intellectual process or cognitive process. If at all, for example, if we take food, if the food is good means by uh, by smelling the food, okay, he may perceive that the food may be very tasty. Okay, so the tastiness comes with the intellectual process. Okay, here without eating, only through sensation he will feels. Okay, and an intellectual process is going on his mind, a cognitive process is going on mind, that by smell he is intellectualizing that the food may be good. Okay, like that. Sensation includes human senses, whereas both senses are also considered under perception, and thus it is known as a wider scope. Next, interprets stimuli. Okay, as I said before, stimuli is nothing but a data, and that data may be known as that may be uh, object, place, person, etc. And this in provided perception provides information to a person about different stimuli. For example, a person first smells, tastes, touch, etc. Then interprets it. Okay, according to this information under the perception process. Okay, perception process I will tell. perception process is nothing but the receiving data from the environment. Okay, and after that receiving the data, we will analyze the data. So what is good, what we have to take, what we shouldn't take the information, we will analyze clearly. Okay, then after analyzing, we will interpret the data. So after interpretation, that means either it may be good or bad, that interpretation will become. Then after interpretation, we will take an action in the sense we will behave either in a positive way or a negative way. So interprets stimuli means data will be interpreted. Okay, next, specific interpretation means um, no, as I said before, no two persons can be similar in the explanation of a situation. So, therefore, each person has his own interpretation, which is known as specific interpretation. Okay, that is known as specific interpretation. Therefore, another one is various components. Various components means we know that we have internal perception, external perception. So internal perception means these are the factors that influence while we are perceiving anything. Okay, for example, yeah, I'm going to perceive on any object. Okay, like food. uh, for example, if we take food, so it depends upon my previous experience. Okay, that is the internal sense, in internal perception. For example, if I went previously to a particular restaurant and I ordered any food, okay, I felt at that time very good. Okay, then according to that experience, next time also I went the same restaurant, I went and I have placed the same order. Okay, so my internal perception will be like that, it will be good. Okay, why? Because depending upon the previous experience, I know that this food will be great. Okay, coming to external means it depends upon perception, depends upon the intensity, size, intensity in the sense the loudness. Okay, or the repetition, the size, so those also attract us. Okay, and depending upon that also we will perceive the thing. Okay, for example, repetitively a car advertisement will be seen in the televisions or any online. Okay, advertising aspects. Okay, so we will, by seeing the motion of the car, okay, every time repetitively the ad means, so we can we have a perception that okay, the car is uh, oh, I think the car may be good. Purchasing of a car may be good. Why? Because the ad, repetition of that ad gives influence on us. Okay, to purchase that car. Okay, and in the same sense, if we take motion means car advertisement will not be shown anywhere like in a standard position like that. Okay, every car advertisement will be shown in a motion only, in a moving position only. Car advertisements will be given like driving, how fastly we can drive that car. Okay, so it is related to the motion. So that motion factor also affect us, thinking that that car may have more acceleration. Okay, like that, different components influence our perception, our thinking. Okay, restricts behavior. The understanding of perception contributes a lot in estimation and controlling the behavior of a person. This means that we will have a perception on a something, on an object. Okay, so to that extent only we will restrict our behavior. Okay, beyond that limit we will not go and think. Okay, so that is known as restricting our behavior. On a particular object we have a negative thinking. Okay, then beyond that we will go and think, we will restrict it there only. Our thinking will not be changed on that aspect. Okay, that is known as restriction. We will control our behavior on that aspect. Multi-purpose uses. So the concept of understanding increases the understanding of human behavior. As a result, better consequences or outcomes in the selection, training, reward, etc. So multi-purpose means perceiving will be helpful not only in understanding behavior. Okay, it also results in the outcomes. So outcomes may be, for example, in selection we will observe the human behavior, okay, and we will select a candidate for our organization as an employee. So what is the outcome? By observing the human behavior, by perceiving the human, ultimately the outcome is we are selecting an employee. Therefore here multi-purpose is seen, that is known as a multi-purpose, not only in selection, in training also, okay, while giving training also, the what is the outcome, how many people have increased their performance levels, okay, like that. So therefore these are all the um, uh, about the concept of the perception, right?